So life is messy is basically what I'm going to say, and kindness is just one way to help you navigate through it. Here are 2 words, and I'm doing this, not so you look at me so I'm going to straight, because I really want us to grapple with this. I know I'm a very unconventional speaker, sorry about that. So we've got 2 words up here. We've got kind and nice. How many of you, by a show of hands, would feel grateful and good if a family member or a student or a peer called you nice? Like, hey, you know, Miss Rentmeester is really nice. I know the huge sense. Miss Rentmeester is nice, right? How many of you would feel good if someone said, you're kind, by a show of hands? All right, and how many of us, by a show of hands, and this is where we're really honest with ourselves, how many of us kind of feel like those 2 are used synonymous and it doesn't matter which one, right? Like, I'm nice, I'm kind, it's good. Call me both. Call me them all day long, right? So here's where we're going to have you grapple with this. And this is kind of a trick, and I apologize. I won't do this much to you today. Maybe one other time. So there is actually a distinct difference I want you to think about. I want you to maybe share this with someone else somewhere. Being nice is sometimes a little easier. It's the tactics we take when we are pleasers, when we are yes people, when we have 1,000 things on our plate. Someone comes in and asks if you can also go do bus duty at the end of the day, and you say, sure. Oh, well, that got funny. I saw that laugh, right? That never happens to you, right? So, nice is not rocking the boat. Nice is going with the flow. And oftentimes, that is easier for all of us. Being kind is doing the hard work. Being kind is not always saying no. I don't expect you to go back and say, well, Aki told me I can say no to everything because I'm being kind, right? This is not the prescription I'm giving y'all, so hold on, right? So kindness is setting boundaries, perhaps, and saying, actually, I'm running the kindness club right after school, and there are going to be 20 students in my room, so I can't do bus duty, but can I help you find someone who can do that, right? It is hard to be kind, not nice, right? It sets your boundaries for you, though, right? Perhaps you're co-teaching, right? Perhaps, like at my school, we have a whole new 4th grade, and they love each other, and so they have met, and they're co-teaching, right? The classes go back and forth, they're learning the culture, they're doing all this great stuff together, and they work collaboratively. But what would happen if one of them was always the one doing the lesson plans, and always the one buying the supplies, and always the one showing up early, staying late to make that cohort successful? What starts to happen over time? If you don't share that with your peers, then that's disappointing. What starts to happen inside you every single little thing that happens over and over again? Resentment, right? You can shout this out. This is obviously a conversation, not just me talking to you. Okay? So eventually resentment starts to happen. And then one day they show up 2 minutes late, and it has gotten to here, and what happens? Whoosh, right? It's huge. It's awful. And so in order to keep that from happening, it's the small conversations, these small connections. And that's true with students as well, right? Kindness is setting expectations at the beginning of the school year. Kindness is making sure safety is happening, right? So your kindergartner's tooth doesn't get knocked out on day 3 of school. She's really cute with it. And so we create a safe space, we create a welcoming space, we create a kind space. But we also create an environment where children are learning so they can be safe in their outside environment too. Okay? Y'all have heard me saying it's not pretty. But did any of you know the Boundary song? Have you heard this one? Please stop I don't like that. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I need some space. It's a cool song. It's a great song that teaches kids to be kind, not nice. It lets them know that if there's a child who's saying things that make them uncomfortable, that they can leave that environment. Or someone's being kind of rough with their body, they can leave that environment. Or if there's someone who wants to give them a hug that they haven't seen in 2 years and they're uncomfortable, that they have the right to say no thank you, right? So, boundary song, YouTube it. It's really, really catchy to the point that now it's going to be in my head for the next 48 hours. I apologize to myself. Okay, so that's being kind, not nice. All right? All right, so something for us to think about. So here's my question for you. How many of you have had a time where you've been nice instead of kind? Is anybody, I've given some examples. Is anyone courageous enough to share a nice, not kind, and how that turned out for y'all? Claudia?
So, as I said before, I do work in the front office, and there's more than plenty of times that I have to be nice, not just to our parents, but sometimes to the staff. I love my staff, don't get me wrong, don't say anything to them, please. This is the thing that we should be with ourselves. And it did backfire, unfortunately, because then that's what they expect, for it to just continue, for me to be nice, instead of them seeing that I have my parents at the window, I have 2 kids waiting for their, schedules, and still they come in and still ask, because that's the precedent that I had set, as that I was being nice, just to kind of clear things up with them, instead of being kind.
That's a good example. And that's the slippery slope, right? When we do it once or twice, then people expect us to do that, right? Okay, so I'm going to ask you all a question. What would you do if your best friend looked like this? Okay, so what's the kind thing to do if your best friend comes in looking like this? What do you think? What if it's a perfect stranger? Fixing yourself, I hear. So what is the kind thing to do no matter what? Tell them. But if it's someone you've never met before, how uncomfortable is that? Right? Hi, nice to meet you. I noticed your zipper's down. That's awkward, right? That is uncomfortable, okay? But we commit together to practicing, right? It's not gonna be perfect every time. You maybe on a random Thursday might let someone leave your room with pepper in their teeth, and that's okay, right? But try to practice that kindness, even if it's hard. So, joking aside, try to be kind and be thoughtful about what nice looks like, okay?